Hey, what's going on, guys? Hex Competitive back in today with a brand new video. ReZero. One more episode to go for season 3, man. One more episode to go. And we see how we're going to end it now, right? We saw the end of this episode. We now know the preview into this next episode, and it all is going to end with Satella, it seems. The Witch of Envy has arrived to the Witch's Tea Party. And that's something that I did not expect. I didn't think we'd confront Satella in this kind of direct manner for a long time. I just did not see it until at least maybe season 3 or 4. At the end of the day, I didn't know when we'd see Satella. I didn't know we'd see the other witches. I just didn't know, right? We didn't even know that there were technically other witches for us anime-only people. We didn't understand that the archbishops didn't make up the witches. They were just the archbishops. They aren't the real deal. So, I mean... Who would have thought we would have really gone this route with the show? This episode, this season has been phenomenal. Instant anime of the year is how I see it, and I just not even refuse. I just can't see it any other way. I've watched a lot of shows. I've been doing this for 6 years, and this show just takes the cake, man. But that being said, let's talk about Echidna's contract. That was, well, fully demonstrated what her motives were. She's someone who doesn't really truly care about Subaru. She proclaims she does, but she doesn't really. She doesn't even understand anyone's feelings but herself, as Subaru states. I mean, maybe she does care about Subaru, but like, if you truly care about someone, you're not greedy, right? And that's who she is. She's the witch of greed. She was even being straightforward with Subaru and trying to convince him to be greedy as well. I'll use your soul in this contract. Well, our bodies will become one and are our souls, and you use me for greed. You obtain the future you want. I'll obtain the future I want. I'll get what I want. You get what you want. Everyone wins, and we can shape this world with how we want. My power, your ability to return by death. Think about all these things we could accomplish is essentially what she's saying. And it's interesting that she says that, and it does make me think of this. Can the Witch of Envy just return by death too then? If she can give such a power, why can she not, create such a power for herself? That's the question which I think begs an answer, right? It begs the question, it begs for an answer. If she can give Subaru this kind of power, can the Witch of Envy even be killed? What's going on there? So... moving on, let's take a look at what's going on with the whole situation with Beatrice now. You find out that Subaru predicates his decision or bases his decision off of what she says about Beatrice, and we find out that the person that she was looking for isn't necessarily real. She just told her to do that to guard the library, her precious information, her greed. Guard my greed, Beatrice. And, well... at the end of the day, we find out that Subaru is the person that Beatrice is really choosing. We see this. She asks the question. She begs the question. I mean, we even have a sequence to where we see a flashback of Subaru whenever he jumped off the cliff, with her monologuing or talking out loud to Ram, saying that she thought he could be that person. And we got to put in perspective, that was back in episode 8. That means Beatrice has been keen on Subaru all this time. What exactly was it that got her attention? Was it the ability to just stumble upon into the door and into the library? What was it? Was it the ability of Subaru's persistence that would never allow her to be left alone? What made Beatrice gravitate towards Subaru? When I find that question to be, once again, begging for an answer. And I think we can allude to certain things, but it's always amazing, even if we're somewhat correct, the dialogue that we get through the show really just, adds so much, I guess, context to some of the statements and events that that the past indirectly and or kind of very subtly led up to, right? They kind of hid some of the stuff on screen. We take a look at Subaru's answer and then seeing, well, looks like Echidna's about to be pissed. To finally show some kind of emotion, we see Satella arrive. We see Satella arrive. Man, there's a lot of questions to be, once again, asked here. I mean, I thought originally, what was it, the dragon Satella fought or something, and she was sealed away, I thought. If she was sealed, how is she here? I need to go back and watch that specific scene to get that kind of context on Satella, and maybe try to figure out why she's here. Maybe she can just go into this world whenever she wants despite being sealed. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm not really sure, so I don't want to dive too much into that because I could blabber on about nonsense for quite a few minutes. I mean, let's take a look at another thing. We saw the second trial. Subaru was seeing the lives in which he left behind. Every time Subaru, well, you tried to use this term return by death in order to save someone else, we see that he still leaves behind the past. He still leaves behind people that are heartbroken. We see Amelia crying, saying, "You said you loved me." And of course, Echidna said, "I can't say those are necessarily true, but the Witch of Envy could." And we're probably about to find out if those things are true or not. And I've been wondering this for a long time. I've been saying, well, if it's a time loop, it's not time travel, then that means if he offs himself in one of his old time loops, then that means, in our time loops, whatever you want to call it, then that means he's still leaving behind that storyline. People are gonna find what it's not like that world just ended and just got deleted and no one remembers anything, no one's there, it's just an empty space. No, that's still a timeline. That's still a life you lived. And whenever you did that thing like you did to Rim after you saw Rim's body, right, and her memory's gone, what'd you do? You grabbed that knife and you allowed yourself to meet your own demise. But guess what? You still left behind Amelia. You still left behind Wilhelm. You still left behind Felix. And you also told Amelia you loved her just before you did that. I think it shows how much Subaru, once again, it kind of puts in perspective of what Subaru has not thought about. These are things we may have not thought about. And I didn't want to know I've said I thought about it just now, but I've also have not thought about it all the time with consistency. Sometimes I've been saying, you know what you got to do, and now I would be in the same situation Subaru is. The way you're able to project on things in the show and project yourself onto Subaru and what you would have done and the consequences you would have also faced and through that, you're able to understand him because you're like, holy crap, you just had that revelation at the same time I did. I didn't think about who you're leaving behind, Subaru. I didn't think about the feelings of others. And then in that moment, you're like, holy crap, I didn't think about that either. It's amazing how the show's able to make you go through this stuff with Subaru, but also have you come to these, my mic's running away from me, but also come to these revelations at the same time as Subaru. You don't think about the things he doesn't think about. That's what's so amazing about this show, and Taipei is the best ever at allowing yourself to connect to a character because he makes every revelation realistic as well. It makes you think like, holy crap, if I told him to do that, I was screaming throughout my monitor telling him to go that route. But guess what? He ended up choosing my route, and look at the mess it's caused. Look at the things I didn't think about. That's what's amazing about this show. It makes you think about what you would have done and what you would have caused due to your own actions, and they're not always pretty. And it allows you to project yourself onto him and then connect it to something maybe in real life, because these are the 7 deadly sins. These are real life problems people face. We all have greed. We all have pride. We all have slothfulness, right? We all have lust. We have these sins, and it's realistic. And that's what's so amazing. It's so applicable not only to what's going on to the storyline, and you can project yourself and throw yourself into the storyline and understand what he's going through because you would have been going through the same thing due to your same choices. But you can also bring it back to real life and say, I could really apply that to something and or my behavior. That's what's amazing about the show. It's so applicable. So other than that, though, let's talk about the whole Rim scene. The Rim scene was awesome. Rim, you're not Rim, because Rim is the only person that holds me accountable. That carries a lot of weight. And, just seeing that scene, even though that's a fake Rim, hearing that voice, hearing that kind of connection that they have, Rim truly does understand Subaru the most, even though she's still so far off the mark as well. Roswell probably understands Subaru in a way, too. But Rim understands Subaru so well, and more importantly, their chemistry is so dynamic. It's just so smooth. It's just so seamless. It's not forced. And Amelia and him, you saw take steps towards maybe something like this, right? But nonetheless, it just goes to show that him and Rim have that. Gosh, I don't know how to say it. They have that connection that him and Amelia don't even have. I can't put it into words how I really want to, like the way I think about it. I just can't form words for it. But nonetheless, it's just so amazing how this show is able to do what it does, right? I mean, I mean, that whole scene where he's like, she's the one that holds me accountable. She wouldn't tell me to rest. He's like, I'll let you see I'll let you see my fragility. I'll let you see my weaknesses, but I will not let you see me give up because you're the person I promised to be the hero of. I promised to be a hero for everyone because of you. I didn't give up because you wouldn't let me, even though I said run away with me. And even though I said, I tugged on all the heartstrings, all the things that you've actually thought about and would love to do after this is all over. But I'm trying to tell you to do it despite how you know how I feel about Amelia, despite how bad you don't want me to give up. I want to run away with you, give up, and live the life that you've actually imagined, your dream. But despite that, you said no. You wouldn't let me live your dream, the thing that you desired most. Instead, you're making me not give up. You're making me not rest. You're pushing me even though I'm at my end. You're pushing me over my boundaries, right? Maybe you even push me too hard. But nonetheless, despite that, giving me up is worse than being pushed above and beyond. So that's pretty cool. I love that. It makes me remember why I love Rim, why Rim is the most important rock to Subaru in a lot of ways, because she's that support beam, and we've seen that Subaru's kind of lost his way a couple times in this arc without her. So, yeah, and that's with Amelia around. That's not a shot of Amelia. It's just some people just have certain kind of connections, and who's to say Subaru doesn't love Rim too? I mean, if there's ever going to be a guy loving two different girls at one time in an anime, I think this anime has shown that it could deserve that. I mean, Rim is such an amazing character, what she's done for Subaru. How couldn't you fall in love with her? So with that being said, though, guys, sure leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, X25. You guys have been hexed, and man, what a great series. The best series I've ever seen.